Hey, welcome everybody. Okay, let's quickly destroy the flat earth theory with some smoking gun evidence that you can see with your own naked eye. There is a star called Polaris right above the North Pole, and that is visible from places like Edmonton, Canada, Montreal, Canada, London, England, and Moscow, Russia. Now, at night, when you take a long exposure photograph, you can actually see the stars go round and round in a circle. And the flat earth theory explanation is that that is at the center of the earth, or above the center of the earth. And since it's going round and round, that's why you see the star trails going around in a circle in the northern hemisphere, looking directly north from each of the cities I listed to you before: Moscow, Russia, London, England, Montreal, Canada, Edmonton, Canada. They're all looking exactly north up into the sky, and they see Polaris. And the center of that circle that goes around and round stays exactly north. It doesn't fly off to the east or the west. And again, explanation for that is that sits right above the center of the earth, according to the flat earth theory. Also, just a very quick note, parts of the night overlap in Moscow, Russia, and London, England, so they can both see that center spot of the circle that doesn't move east or west at the same time, and it is directly north for both of them at the same time. And the same is true of Edmonton, Canada, and Montreal, Canada. During the nighttime, they can both see Polaris and that spot in the sky, that center of the circle that doesn't move east or west. Okay, so let's just point out something critical here that you need to understand. Okay, so in the northern hemisphere, we know they're all looking directly north and up in the sky, and they see Polaris and they see it go around in the circle. Now, you have to understand that you can't have that same sort of phenomenon in the southern hemisphere according to the flat earth model that we see here. Because remember, like look here from Auckland, New Zealand. If you're looking directly south, you're looking in a way different direction to someone who's looking directly south in Melbourne, Australia, or Perth, Australia, or Cape Town, South Africa. So you would not expect the stars to go around in a circle. I hope you can figure that out and understand that. Basically, the stars would have to sort of streak across east to west. You should not expect, if you take a long exposure photograph, to see the stars going in a circular motion that would just sort of sweep across the sky from east to west. So, some stars would be directly south from New Zealand at some point in the night sky, and later it will be exactly south from Melbourne, Australia, and then Perth, Australia, and much, much, much later it'll be directly south of Cape Town, South Africa, as it goes around and round according to the flat earth theory. And take special note that you should not expect to see any stars go in the opposite direction, which is what you would see if it goes in a circle. So here is the smoking gun test that we can set up that will absolutely destroy the flat earth theory. Okay, if we look directly south from Auckland, New Zealand, and Melbourne, Australia in the night when the nights overlap, and we see the stars going in a circular pattern, and that center of that circle is exactly south, that is the end of the flat earth theory, because that can't be exactly south from Auckland, New Zealand, and Melbourne, Australia at exactly the same time. That is absolutely impossible according to this model, but not if the Earth is a sphere. Okay? And I'll very briefly explain to you why we'd expect to see that if the Earth was a sphere, which it is, and which I'll hope you believe once you're done with this video and have checked these things out for yourself. Because remember, what I'm showing you here about the southern hemisphere is something that you can see with your naked eye. No special equipment required. Okay, I'm very quickly going to run through some simulations of what we see in the northern hemisphere in a program called Stellarium, which is a free planetarium program that you can download for yourself, and you can test this out on your own computer. And most importantly, what you see here, what I will show you, is stuff that you can go outside and see with your naked eye. Okay, so even if you don't believe these simulations, if you don't believe me, you can test it out on the software for yourself, and if you don't believe the software, you can go sit outside and see it with your own naked eye. Okay, so let's very quickly get started here. I've got two windows of Stellarium open here right next to each other, And let's just quickly click in the corner here and these little arrows to keep these menu bars in place. And let's set our location for this one to London. London, United Kingdom. There we go. And we'll set this one to Moscow, Russia. There we go. Okay, now depending on what time it is, whenever you're doing this, it might be dark for you or it might be daylight. Let's just open up these little windows here so we can move the time along a little bit. The time here, you don't have to actually pay any attention to this. This is just local time in New Zealand. So let's just move this to where we will get to nighttime. Okay, so let's move it to 6 or 8. Okay, there we go. And now we want to find Polaris. So you just type in Polaris if you've got that search window open. And you press enter, and there's Polaris. We'll just do the same with this one. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this one from London, visible right there. You can see it with your naked eye in the night sky. And if you take a long exposure photograph, you'll notice that the stars go around in a circle. Okay, so what you can do is you can, in the bottom here, okay, they're going to be a little bit out of sync, but I'm sure you can follow along with what I'm doing. So let's just speed this up a little bit, and we'll speed this one up a little bit as well. And what you can do is you can actually turn off the atmosphere just so the daylight doesn't actually become a factor, so it's easier to see. Okay, so you can see, and let's just zoom out as well a little bit. Close these time windows. Okay, now what you'll notice is, okay, let's just turn on the equatorial grid. Okay, so you'll notice it sways around just a very tiny bit. That's because the window is focused on Polaris, and Polaris is not actually exactly on the axis which the Earth spins. It's exactly north. You can see it from Moscow and from London at the same time in the night when the nights overlap for them. Okay, great. Now let's go have a look and see what we see in the southern hemisphere. Now just before we obliterate the flat earth theory, I just want to refer you back to this image just to make sure that you understand that it is smoking gun evidence, that it is absolute game over for the flat earth theory. Look at this map, right? We're going to look exactly south from Auckland, New Zealand, Melbourne, Australia, Perth, Australia, and Cape Town, South Africa. And we are, as you will see, going to see the stars go around in a spiral pattern. Not only that, that center of that circle is going to be exactly south from each one of these locations at exactly the same time. So, when the nights overlap in Auckland, New Zealand, and Melbourne, Australia, you can have two people sitting there looking directly south, and they can see this at exactly the same time. And that is absolutely impossible with the flat earth model. And that's why I use this as smoking gun evidence, because this just destroys it completely. You can lay all your other objections and questions and proofs for the flat earth aside. Okay, they are non-consequential. Non-consequential in light of this evidence. Okay? And remember, what I'm going to show you is what you can simulate yourself and go outside in the in the night in one of these cities or anywhere in the southern parts of the southern hemisphere, and you can see it for yourself. Stop letting these other people bamboozle you with bullshit. Okay? The earth is not flat. It is spherical. The reason we are going to see the stars go in a spiral pattern when we look south from these locations is because the Earth is a sphere. It spins on an axis. At the northern point of the axis, it looks like they're going around in the circle because you're looking up at the night sky on the axis which the Earth spins around, and exactly the same is true for the southern hemisphere. But let's go ahead and demonstrate this for you in Stellarium right now. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a drum roll, if you would please, because I'm not going to edit one in for this. No way. Too lazy. Here we are, end of the line for the flat earth theory. I've already got Stellarium set up here in 4 different windows. Here we have it. Auckland, New Zealand, Melbourne, Australia, Perth, Australia, Cape Town, South Africa. I've already got it set up where I've got the equatorial grid on, so you can see that there. That is the axis which the Earth spins around. And you'll notice that that spot, you see these stars, Southern Cross right there, Canopus, Schirner, right? There they are in this window as well. You can see them, right? They're not flying off, they're just going around in a circle here. And this is visible, like I said, from Auckland and Melbourne at exactly the same time. So if I go ahead, I've also got my atmosphere turned off, so when it becomes daylight again, we won't actually see it. We'll just see the stars. So here we go. Speeding them up. They're a little bit out of sync, but I'm sure you can figure this out. There we go. That spot there, it's exactly south from all these locations I've got here. It's not possible in the flat earth model. This is damaging. It's absolutely fatal. I mean, the flat earth theory has flatlined. This is game over. Checkmate. So, I know you're skeptical. Go and download the software. It's called Stellarium. There's the name, Stellarium. Just type it in the search engine, you'll find it. And you can test these simulations for yourself. Okay? And then, at night, when it's a clear night sky, you can go outside, you can sit with Stellarium, you can find the Southern Cross, you can look and see. You can figure out that this spot here, even though there's not a bright star like Polaris, you can figure out that's not moving to the east. It's not moving to be exactly south of Melbourne or Perth or Cape Town, South Africa later. It is exactly south from all of these locations at exactly the same time because the Earth is spherical. That is the axis which the Earth spins around. Okay? Make sure you understand this. Go and test it. You'll see. I'm not messing with you. This is absolutely how it is in reality.